Hello everybody. Today I'm going to want to talk about the 737-800 MAX because they are now going to start producing them again. Let's take off. Why is this acting like I'm on ice? I don't understand. I have no idea why it's acting like I'm on ice because, well, I'm not. I'm on the Okay, let's turn here. Let me pull up this real quick. Okay, yeah. Let's make a 180 here. Okay, so 737-800 MAX. The 737-800 MAX is a better 737. The plane was originally sought for third world countries, or undeveloped countries, whichever term you like more. So it had better fuel efficiency, and it was faster than the 737-800 normal edition. So the plane had two other qualities that made it good for third world countries though. And that was the stopping and taking off capabilities, and the fact that it was able to handle dirt and gravel runways. Because, third world countries are going to have dirt and gravel runways with some sort of net or just some sort of filter or something to make sure the dirt and gravel doesn't interfere with the engines. Anyways, so the system. So it was able to take off on short distances, and it was able to take off on short distances, gravel runways, and it was just in general great for 737. It was just great for third world countries or undeveloped countries. And even if you were to use it in the US, it would still be a good plane because, again, it is a better 737. So this. Okay, also, another reason on why the 737-800 was made instead of just making a new plane is because basically a giant rod. So the giant rod I'm talking about is the rod that would allow you to control the plane. So basically you connect the giant rod to the yoke, and using the yoke you would be able to move it around. So basically on the newer planes, if they were to remake it, they would probably be using a wired system with wires and backup wires that would be connected to the yoke to make it work. The thing is that the pilots would have to be recertified if they were to fly these planes because it's a new system now. So they would have to recertify the pilots for these specific planes. So instead of doing that, they decided to make the 737-800 MAX. This plane had giant rod still with hydraulics in it. But even if the hydraulics failed, you would still be able to control the plane through giant rod by moving the yoke around. I don't know the technical name for it, I'm just going to call it giant rod. Anyways. So in general, it was a good plane. Better 737-800, but able to be used in third world countries, sound great. It was great except for one minor problem that, well, wasn't that minor. So it had a thing with, they made the engine bigger, and it was like 15 feet longer than the 737-800. So they had to balance the plane somehow because it was unbalanced with all the added weight from the engines and the length increase. So their solution was to add a sensor that would balance it automatically. And of course, you could go into manual mode to make sure that the sensor should not be able to do anything and not like edit the trims or whatever. The thing is that the keyboard there is should. The sensor would keep the plane balanced, like normal, to make sure that it wouldn't become unbalanced and it would be able to maintain level flight when using autopilot. And of course, you can manually override it if you needed to. The thing is that it just wouldn't override. Like, you just couldn't override it. No boy, I'm flaring that time. Anyways, so it just had two cases where the pilots were unable to do anything because the plane just wouldn't allow them to. It just quite simply that they had no control. The plane was just doing whatever it wanted, and they couldn't turn off the trim. They couldn't stop it from pointing straight down. I had a similar thing with my TBM, where even if I had the autopilot and the trims off, it would still do whatever it wanted, and this led to me crashing quite a few times because it would just point straight towards the ground right before I was about to land, crushing my hopes and dreams. That's just trimmed a bit. Or not trims, flaps. Anyways, so this was obviously unacceptable by FAA standards for fairly obvious reasons. So do another turn, 180 turn, on my single click. Okay. Anyways, but now they're starting to remake them. You know, this time not plummeting towards the ground. You know, crashing, hopefully. Which I think is the idea of them remaking them. And they will be, you know, obviously remodeling all the old ones that were already made. So Airbuses aren't around anymore because of, you know, the world has gone crazy or whatever. So no more Airbuses and all that type of stuff. So the 737-800 MAX would be able to. It's probably what they're going to be using during this time of crisis. And also, an interesting thing about it, despite the plane being better, for some reason it's like half the price of a 737-800 or an Airbus, which is interesting to say the least because, you know, normally when you make better versions, you make them, like, you know, more expensive, not less expensive. But I'm pretty sure nobody's complaining, so I'm not going to complain either. It's absolutely notch. Anyways. So, without any Airbuses or whatever, being half the price, it will probably be what people are using during this time of crisis. And I like the 737-800 MAX. I think it's a good plane because the 737 is a good plane. And the 737 MAX is just a better 737 that is more versatile. So I'm pretty sure all the third world countries will be happy for the 737-800 return. It can also, one last fact about 737, it's also closer to the ground, so you can easily get all the luggage and all type of stuff out easily. That's no problem. And you just need like a little stepping stool basically to get everybody onto a plane. I probably won't get onto a 737 MAX immediately once they come out because of quarantine or whatever. But I'd much rather have a 737-800 MAX that doesn't crash than a 737. Let's see, let's do the landing here. Anyway, so good for Boeing for making 737. It should be useful during this time of crisis, and it should be useful after the time of crisis. And that's pretty much it. Let's just land the plane here now. Cannon off fuel a little bit. Not gonna put flaps down fully yet. Too low. Should be easy enough. Don't think there's any wind, no crosswinds, nothing like that. Nothing's not me this time. Let's go. 90 knots, or I guess we're running 100 knots. Gear down. I'm gonna press it a couple hundred times just to make sure. Should I put the flaps down another notch? Yeah, I think I will put it down another notch. And there's the red lights. Okay, keep on the right scope. Stalling. Don't want to stall yet. add more power. Okay, now stop. Not gonna put flaps down because it tends to point you up more, so I'm not gonna. And there we go. There we go. Well, see you around. Bye.